Hi everyone, thanks for checking out another InfoSec Hub video. Today we're going to talk about cybersecurity measures and kind of the scales and follow-ups that you should do phase after phase. So we start here on the left with security controls, support business change, innovation, agility, protection. So security is not only technical measures that you implement, it's also awareness, taking security into consideration in everything you do within the business, especially because all businesses are now either working cloud-based or on-premise or in a hybrid situation. But bottom line, everybody is digital and everything is connected to the internet. So the business, when they introduce a new tool, it needs the screening. We need to make sure that backups are in place. We need to make sure that everything is encrypted from data in transit, data at rest. So from the beginning of acquiring new software, we already have to take that into account. Innovations, for instance, making sure that we have firewalls in place, that we have VLANs in place, that we have a backup location that is synchronized every night. So when something happens on site A, we can continue on site B tomorrow and only lose a couple of hours of work. These kind of things we need to think about. Protection, for instance. You can log into account using your username and password. We can use SSO, we can use two-factor authentication or MFA, multi-factor authentication. So it's more difficult for people to get into the account. And you need to have several layers of protection in place so you can actually show the system that you are the real person. Then we have real-time visibility. You want to be able to monitor critical systems. You want to see what's happening when it comes to CPO load, network load, certain IP addresses try to access files that are not allowed. We also need ways to report issues. So sending in security incidents to the right department, or making sure that as soon as the firewall detects something that's strange, it needs to start blocking that IP or that network protocol, for instance. Automated decision making, and then triggering an alert so that people that are in charge, maybe even within a network operation center or a security operation center, they know what's happening and they can act on it. So real-time visibility is critical to see what's happening to company systems, company data sources. Collaborative culture. It's very important that everybody within a company that notice that something is off reports it to the right people. Could be a security officer, could be a CISO, could be within IT operations, an application manager, for instance. We need to make sure that we have eyes and ears everywhere. So we need to collaborate with each other. Also, people come and go in the workspace. They might have a certain experience already in their previous years working at a different company that faces the same kind of problems. It's important that solutions to these problems are shared so it can be implemented in the company that you work for right now as well. Then asset management. So assets can be anything ranging from endpoints, databases, servers, either physical or virtual, intellectual property, code repositories, the various role-based access. So what do we have in place? If you work for marketing, you have access to these systems, and within that system, you have those kind of access rights. So IGA, identity, governance, and access, all that kind of stuff need to be implemented on top of assets. First, you need to know what you have. Then you need to know what kind of people you have, and then you need to define the roles within that job title to what system they have access, and within that system, what kind of access do they have. So you need to have a broad overview of what it is that you have in the house. You also need to minimize shadow IT. Everything needs to go either through security or an IT operations department, for instance. Everything needs to be checked, and we need to have a broad overview of all the assets that live inside a company network. Then we have data classification. It can either be customer-related data, employee-related data. What else we have? We need to make sure that we have a broad overview of the data that we have, because data is virtual gold, and this is actually what attackers are looking for. So we need to see what kind of data we have, and we need to classify it as critical data. If there's a data leak, we need to know exactly what's happening, what kind of methods that we can implement later on. No, first we need to start the investigation. How was this able to happen? And then we need to think about ways to prevent this from happening in the future. And of course, in certain cases, we need to cooperate with the AP, with the local authorities. Who knows? It really depends on the range and the subjects involved into this data leak. And then the last part, which is also very important, is a continuous review. So we need to go back here while reviewing and see what kind of security control measures we have in place. Are these still effective? Do we need to upgrade? Do we need to change them? What does the threat landscape look like? What are the threat actors? Who is after our data? How can we make sure that they will not be able to break in? And if they steal the data, that the data to them is useless because it's encrypted, for instance. So we go back to security controls, and we need to evaluate on a yearly basis if it's still effective enough. And then basically with reviews, we go through all these steps again. Is asset management still up to date? How can we ensure that asset management is updated? Who reports what? Is there a procurement process in place? Do we report every new asset that's being added to maybe the server park, new endpoints? We need to have a complete overview. Who is responsible? Who checks it? Data classification. Do we implement new tools? Where is this tool stored? How is data secured? How is backup managed? What is the data retention period? We need to make sure that we have this whole classification and understanding where is it stored, located, that we have this in place as well. So we need to go through this, and this is a continuous thing that you do on an annual or maybe twice a year basis. So cybersecurity measures, it all sounds very technical. There are technical things in place, but it's also between people. It's also about processes. And you need to make sure that this is all in place, and you need to review it, because what works today might not work in 6 months from now. I hope that is clear to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching this video, and we see you in the next one.